What's up, everybody? Hard Pass back at you with the NFL Spotlight. And of course, I'm accompanied with the one and only Rambreezy. What's up, man?
What's up? What's up?
How
Ready
you
to
doing,
talk
bro?
some AFC South?
AFC South is what we're going to rock. So um, bear with us. It's a pretty boring ass league. Nah, just kidding. But we are going to start with the Texans. So interesting. We'll see how the roster ends up shaking out when we start looking at it. But we'll see. It's been a little top heavy with this. There's like a big gap between two and the other two.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
for sure. So we'll see
This
how this
this
shakes
division
out.
is a two-man race, and if any of you are Texans fans out there, I'm gonna go ahead and apologize early. I don't think you're in that race.
Yeah, you're not in that two-man race, that's for sure. But we'll see how your roster looks, and we'll break that down. I'm gonna write it down here, and we're gonna slide over here to, of course, our Houston depth chart. So I mean, we got to start with the elephant in the room with the Texans. How does the Texans bounce back from the whole Deshaun Watson fiasco?
Time is going to take some time. It ain't this year. Let's put it that way. They got a couple pieces here and there, but overall, when you look at this lineup top to bottom, this is one of the worst rosters in the NFL. And I don't expect a lot of wins to come out of this team. Just looking at it, I mean, we'll go through position by position, but just looking at it as a whole, there is a lot of gaps to fill in on this team.
Yeah, you remember a while back when they were kind of making the playoffs, like pretty much and losing in the first round. Mm-hmm. They were like mortgaging away anything they had just to kind of stay in that hunt with their roster. And got to give Deshaun Watson credit for that. He was good enough to take them to the playoffs.
I mean, that a couple of years ago, this was one of the most talented rosters in football. And I mean, I see why they did what they did. They made the Laramie Tunsil trade. And I think, when they made that Tunsil trade, they gave up all of those picks. I don't, in their minds, they weren't losing Deshaun Watson. I still to this day don't really understand the DeAndre Hopkins trade. It was weird. It's like they went all in, and then all of a sudden they weren't all in anymore in just a drop of a hat. And so that's what ends up happening is you have Deshaun Watson, 1 year into a mega extension, and he wants out. Now, all the stuff off the field with Deshaun is what it is, but from a talent standpoint, it really leaves this team in a gap because they gave up so many picks to go get these players, and now they're all gone, and they don't have really the picks back to
it was they got put in a weird spot because they're like, well, we have a franchise quarterback, so now we're going to try to we're going to use our first round picks and go get guys, kind of like what the Rams are doing. Mm-hmm. And then of course your quarterback, we all know the troubles that Deshaun has gotten himself into. So and then you're like, well, we had the coaching turnover. He was a pretty bad GM. I think we could all agree. They made a lot of boneheaded decisions in a lot of skill position, like like you were saying about Hopkins and stuff. So now they're just patching it together. To be honest with you, this roster is pretty bad, and we're going to start with. Well, interesting start with Davis Mills. I'm not going to say pretty bad because he's still a young guy. He actually, as bad as this roster looked, he looked like a football player.
Yeah. I mean, I am a big Davis Mills guy. I think what he was able to do last year on a pretty bad team was pretty impressive. Right. He's just another one of those guys that because he was a third round pick or whatever, people don't hype him up like they do these guys that are first round picks. But in all honesty, outside of Mac Jones last year, he was the second best rookie quarterback. And with a just awful roster. Now, he does have, one weapon, I will say, in Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks has been just wildly underrated his entire career in the NFL. So he's got a good receiver there. But outside of that, you look at the team, the roster they had last year, for him to be able to put up decent numbers with that team, that's impressive. I mean, I like the kid. Who knows? Third round pick. I mean, he was their first pick last year. They didn't have a first or second round pick.
What's crazy for him is you got to say it ain't his roster just getting to it. Because he's got, not the best offensive line. The skill positions are literally just one guy.
Outside of Brandon Cooks, it's not a whole lot there. So, I mean, I've seen quarterbacks do less with much better talent around them. Let's put it that way.
For sure.
So we'll see. Like I said, we'll see how it pans out for Davis Mills this year. I hate to be like, and I'm not one of those guys. I don't think this is a make or break year for Davis Mills. I think if he has a good year this year, then they'll progress with him moving forward. But
you want him to take some steps, though.
Yeah. I mean, you want to see him get better, but I'm
not
going to.
There's not many steps that he's going to be able to take, but you kind of want him to. You want to see him not maybe sophomore slump a little bit.
You can't expect this guy to come out and throw 35 touchdowns for 4,500 yards. Like, that's just an unreal expectation for, like I said, a third-round pick who's on one of the worst teams in the league.
Yep.
So, but we'll see how it pans out for him.
Yeah, and just comparing him to the other quarterbacks, I mean, with the Colts, of course, you have Matt Ryan now in the league.
So I'm going to put Matt Ryan above him. I'm going to put Tannehill above him. And just off of just talent alone, I'm still going to go Trevor Lawrence above him. Okay. Even though I think Lawrence had a worse year last year. I just think he is still the better football player. And I don't love the moves the Jaguars made. We'll get into their breakdown a little later, but it's still a better skill set.
Now, you compare the two seasons, he had a way better season than
talent.
But yeah, talent-wise, but also this is where it's kind of like Davis Mills, the pressure's kind of off because you're like, hey man, y'all gonna be bad anyway, and the roster's bad. It's kind of opposite a little bit. I'm not saying it's do or die for Trevor Lawrence, but you can't be coming out throwing as many picks as he did.
He's got to be better than he was last year, no doubt. Mm-hmm. Like, no doubt.
Okay, so we're going fourth at the QB room.
Fourth.
I mean, it's going to be a lot of fours.
A lot of fours.
Look at the running back room here. We have Dameon Pierce, sleeper pick in fantasy, by the way.
Yeah. Rookie. Going to be getting the majority of the touches.
He's going to get the majority of the touches. I had a guy who was talking to me about fantasy. He's like, man, I'm pretty hyped on Dameon Pierce. And I said, I get where you think the workload should be there. Yeah. So maybe but I've seen a lot of teams that just, we'll see. He could easily come out and rush for 48 yards a game and, a couple.
Today's, NFL cut day, and it was wild. I fully expected Marlon Mack to make this team, and they cut him. They cut Marlon Mack today. I expected him to
going
be
a little youth there. Rex Burkhead is on the 2 deep, which that's never. Dude, how bad is Royce Freeman?
How mighty have fallen there. A couple years ago, there was a lot of hype on Royce Freeman. He's now fourth string on the Texans. That's pretty bad. So, I mean, it's not a great running back room. It's a lot of, Dameon Pierce we'll have to wait and see. He was a mid-round pick at running back. I mean,
that's definitely four here.
And I will say that this division is stacked at that position. So running back. This is an easy fourth place. This is not even close.
Moving on to the pass catchers, and you only got one.
You got one. They had a tough break with John Mechie. I know they had some hopes for John Mechie to be a pass catcher for them. He had the health issues and is out for the whole year. So hopefully he can come back and provide them something in the future. But, you're looking at Brandon Cooks, Nico Collins, Philip Dorsett, Chris Moore. I mean, this is the tight end position.
Who's the pass catchers now for the Titans?
Robert Woods, Traylon Burks.
Okay.
Yeah, Austin Hooper is still infinitely better.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say Brandon Cooks is honestly, I think the closer of the two is the Jaguars. The Jaguars pass catchers, now they spend a ton of money on it, and I think I'm still going to give the Jaguars a slight edge, but it ain't by much. It ain't by a lot.
It's only because of, I'm not saying that they're deep by any means, but they're better off than, yeah.
They're deeper.
Brandon Cooks is one of the best wide receivers in this division.
Without a doubt. He's first or second best maybe wide receiver in the whole division.
Right.
But outside of him, it's bad. It's very bad.
Yeah, it's a bunch of who's?
Yeah.
Who?
Yep.
So we're gonna go 4 on the pass catching. 4 on the pass catching. Do we agree there?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to they have Laramie Tunsil, which I don't even know how he's still on this team. Because he's actually a good football player.
I would have traded him a long time ago just to try and get some of them picks back.
They have AJ Cann at guard. Shout out Bamberg. Sorry, he went to. He's from South Carolina. He's 30 now, dude. That's crazy to think about.
It is crazy, and he's been a starter for a long time. This is a bad offensive line. Like, let's just call it what it is. This is a pretty bad offensive line. Tunsil's a good player, borderline Pro Bowl left tackle, which is very important, especially with a young quarterback. Outside of that,
here's the problem with this division. They got some pretty good offensive lines in this division.
And that's what I was going to say.
As well. I think, like,
the rest of
compared to this offensive line to maybe another division, another team, another division, this is not like the worst.
No, I don't think this is this. I mean, this offensive line is probably I'd say probably in the 20s across the entire league.
I put it, low 20s.
But you look at the rest of this division, and these teams are built around their offensive lines. Mm-hmm. Now, Indianapolis has some plugs they've got to fill in, but they have arguably the best offensive lineman in football, which helps bump them up some. But I still, just looking at this offensive line, I still got to go.
We're going to go 4 here.
This is just not good.
So far, not so good for the Texans. 4, 4, 4, and 4th. Moving on to the D-line. Got your boy Jerry Hughes.
Yeah, I mean, I love me some Jerry Hughes, but
like, he's old in his career.
He's old, man. He is old.
33. Jonathan, this young kid, he had 8 sacks. I mean, this defensive line is not great.
No, it's not. They've run a 4-3. Who else has a very bad defensive line, however, is Jacksonville.
Yeah, but dude, I got Jacksonville has at least one guy on their team, and that Josh Allen guy.
He's now an outside linebacker. They're now a 3-4 defense. So I'll just read it off to you. Jacksonville's starting defensive line is Folorunzu Fatukasi, Devon Hamilton, and Roy Robertson Harris.
So yeah, we're gonna put this D-line at 3.
I will agree with that. I'll give them 3. That Jacksonville D-line, pretty bad.
It's going to be 4th at Jacksonville, probably.
It's pretty bad there.
But moving on to the backers. Man.
Dude, this team is so bad. I hate to keep hounding on them. Like I said, I don't know. Like, I don't know if we have any Texans fans out there.
Like, I'm sure if you tune in, you're a Texans fan, you know.
I mean,
you know what you got going on.
You got to. So your linebacking core, Camus Gruger-Hill is a former special teamer for several teams, and he's going to start in here. Christian Kirksey has some upside in the middle position.
Young kid. Christian Harris is a
younger
kid, right?
guy.
Yeah.
Christian Harris, Alabama kid. They took in the 3rd round this year. It's wait and see on him. Alabama linebacker, so maybe. But you got, like I said, he's a 3rd round pick. So
I'm going
pretty
4th.
Tough there.
4th on the backers.
Yeah, and I don't think it's close. Honestly. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm sitting there thinking about the other backers and the other ones. So
yeah, it's pretty locked in.
I'm moving on to the secondary. This is the one shining spot. This one guy.
Yeah. This is what they did it for. This is why they were so bad. Was to get Derek Stingley. He's going to be a stud if he stays healthy.
If he stays healthy, he's going to be an animal.
He was, there was a lot of argument over him and Sauce being the best corner. Stingley as a freshman at LSU was unbelievable. He was unreal. Now they've kind of patched this up the rest of the way. Steven Nelson's
bro. Their two corners are both rookies.
My man ain't even got a picture, bro.
Wait.
Well, Steven Nelson's a vet. He's been around for a little while.
Not Steve. Oh yeah, my bad.
So Steven
one of their
Nelson's
safeties.
Yeah, one of the safeties. It's bad, man. Let's just call it what it is. They have the bright spot in Stingley.
The free safety.
They got a bright spot in Derek Stingley, so hopefully he pans out. They run Desmond King behind him. He's had some issues in the past. So, fourth.
Yeah, pretty tough. And
that's just, they're one of the worst in the league. So,
yeah, it's one of the worst football teams in the league. But hey, guess what? I like your quarterback. I do like Davis Mills. I think we'll see. You got to give him time. But he came in and people are like, who is this guy? And you see his numbers there. 2,600 yards, 16 touchdowns. The fact that he threw 16 touchdowns to who?
And he didn't even start the whole year.
I know.
He's a guy that came in after a couple of games. And like I said, we're not trying to
blow. He's not going to blow you away or anything.
I'm not sitting here like, he's 100% the future of the franchise. But those numbers deserve a chance to prove what he can do. But he's also another guy where I'm going to look at and be like, they're not going to give him the same chances that like Daniel Jones has gotten in New York.
Right.
Or people like that. Sam Darnold had gotten throughout his career where he had multiple chances to fail. Now, he's been better than those guys already, but I just have a feeling that like people aren't going to
he's
take
definitely
into
playing,
account.
as much as we said we didn't have a lot of pressure, now I'm thinking about it, he's definitely playing for his job.
He's playing for his job, and it's unfair.
It's unfair. I think this team is one of the worst teams in football, and they're going to be in the running for the number 1 overall pick.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, so even if he comes out and he plays okay, but honestly they're one of the worst teams in the league. If they're in the running for the number 1 pick, and you're sitting there and you're going, do we keep running Davis Mills out there, or do we take a C.J. Stroud or a Bryce Young? And I just think the temptation is going to be too much to not give this kid another chance. But like I said, we've had teams that, because guys were higher draft picks who perform worse than him will get more opportunities. It's a weird thing about the NFL. I don't love it, but it's just the nature of the game. They're going to have a very bad record. They're going to have a chance at the number 1 pick.
So records.
4 wins.
I said they win 3 football games for me.
I'm like, I said 4, and I'm like, maybe.
You want to go? You gonna go 3?
I'm gonna go 3. This is a bad.
Let's go
team.
3.
They're gonna win 3 games.
Yeah. Alrighty. So we had the 4th in the QB room, 4 running backs, 4th in the pass catching, 4th in the O line, 3rd in the D line, 4th in the backers, and 4th in the secondary.
Tough.
Pretty bleak. I'm a Panther fan, and I was like boning. At least I'm.
But hey, you can only go up from here.
That's right. You only go up from here.
Got some picks back, traded Deshaun.
We appreciate everybody for tuning in to the NFL Spotlight of the Texans. We will come back next with the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll holler at you later. Peace.